my channel, Naturally Beautiful Girl. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some products from Conrad Beauty. I've tried out quite a few products from Conrad Beauty before, and I will link my video up above where I demo the products and review them for you guys in case you're interested in my thoughts on some of the other products that I'm not going to be talking about in this video. As I'm sure you saw by the title, I'm going to be talking about complexion products from Conrad Beauty. And Conrad Beauty launched a number of complexion products, and really interestingly, only launched them at Kohl's, so you can purchase them in person at Kohl's or online, but they don't seem to be available on the Conrad Beauty website, and also I didn't really see them hyped up on Instagram or anything like that either. I did pick up these products to try them out for you. Actually, I'll have to give a little shout out if you are interested in trying any of these products. I actually did a curbside pickup at my local Kohl's, and I'm sure as many of you guys have, I've done curbside pickup at quite a number of different retailers, and Kohl's ranks high on my list of like easiest and best curbside pickups. So if you are interested in trying these out, I highly recommend that option. They were very fast bringing out the products. It was really straightforward. My order wasn't mixed up. It just like checked all the boxes and was just really simple and easy. So I did want to give that shout out. I'm going to be demoing all these products and inserting those clips in this video. So I have 4 different products. I have the foundation, I have the concealer, I have the powder, and I also have the Skin Individual tint. These are drops that you can mix in with other products. I have the lightest shade of actually I have the lightest shade of everything because I have very fair porcelain skin. I have the foundation in the shade 1, which is the lightest shade. And there were actually a good number of shades of this foundation. I was pleasantly surprised by that. It's really hard for me to tell from the swatches online, like how actually expansive the shade range is in terms of like going from really fair skin to deep skin tones. But there were a lot of like actual shades available. It wasn't just like 5. So I will give them credit for that. So the foundation does contain SPF. It's SPF 15. I believe it's zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. So it is a physical sunscreen, which I like. As far as I can tell, it's supposed to be kind of more of like a lightweight CC cream type of foundation situation. And like I said, I have the shade 1, which is the lightest shade, and I'm gonna swatch it for you here on my hands. The shade 1 is not the best shade match for me. It's a little pink. I mean, I can kind of make it work, but I definitely find it is that the shade is better when I do go ahead and mix it with the drops itself. You can see it on my hand. Like I've had better shade matches and I've had worse. So because it does tend to run a little bit pink, I do typically mix them with the drops. I have the shade light of the drops, and this is what it looks like. When I actually bought the drops, I thought they were a foundation. Like I thought it was kind of like a liquid serum foundation. And then I figured out that they were actually mixing drops, which is interesting and cool because I've never seen like mixing drops like this in the clean beauty space. I've seen obviously Cover FX, I think, is kind of best known for their drops. And they were in vogue in more generally in the beauty space a few years ago. I remember everyone had like a kind of like white foundation or something that they could mix with other products. So I do think it is cool, but at the same point, like it's a little frustrating because if you can't find the shade that works well for you, you then have to buy drops. And they have several different shades of drops. They have drops. This is like the lightest one, and they have deeper shades as well, so you could like deepen up a foundation. But I guess my thought is that like then you have to purchase 2 products. So you aren't just paying for the price of the foundation or the concealer, you also then have to pay for the price of this product on top of that. And the other thing too is I've tried the foundation with and without the drops, and the concealer with and without the drops. During the demo in this video, I did mix the foundation and the concealer with the drops. And here's the thing is that when you are mixing in the drops with the foundation or the concealer, it definitely changes the consistency of the product. I find that the drops, interestingly, make the product drier. Like if you just mess around with the drops by themselves, you'll notice that they really kind of dry down and are more of a matte finish. So I feel like they end up mattifying the foundation and the concealer. And then the other thing to keep in mind as well is this does have SPF 15, and you really should not be using this product on its own as your only source of SPF. I do use a SPF as part of my skincare routine, and I put that on every day. So I am just layering this product on top of an existing SPF. but especially with mixing drops into this, you're diluting the concentration of the sun protecting ingredients. So that is something to keep in mind. When you are applying a foundation, you're not applying as much product as you should to actually reach that SPF level anyway. So that all being said, you basically want to treat this product as if it doesn't have SPF. I did go ahead and apply this. When I mix it with the drops, I do like the shade of it. However, I find that on its own, it is a little bit pink, and I typically just use my hands to apply it. And that's partly because I end up mixing the drops with the foundation kind of like in the palm of my hand and then applying it that way. So it just makes sense to apply it with my hands, and it does work well that way. The one thing I will say is it definitely is more on the kind of like a drier matte side. It's not a glowy, dewy foundation with or without the drops. The drops definitely push it more towards the matte side. I do like the level of coverage. It's pretty light. It does provide some, not surprisingly, the drops amp up the level of coverage. They provide a little bit of extra pigmentation, so the coverage is a little bit higher with the drops than without. To be honest, after reviewing this product, I'm not going to be reaching for this because I have to mix it with the drops, which just makes it a whole process when I'm applying it. And I don't love it. Like, I love the Cara Weiss Liquid Velvet Foundation. I love the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint Foundation. Like, there's so many foundations I've discovered that I really, really love. And this is just not in that love category for me. And because of that, I'm not going to be reaching for it. I haven't noticed it breaking me out at all or really irritating my skin, which is good. And the other thing that I don't love about this foundation, I have oily skin and we are in winter, so my skin is a bit less oily than it is like during the summer. But I do notice that as I'm wearing this foundation throughout the day that it does make my skin more oily. It doesn't break apart. I do have that problem with some foundations when I'm wearing them, that they'll kind of break apart and move around and look blotchy as my skin gets more oily throughout the day. And this one doesn't do that. Like, the foundation stays in place, but I've noticed that compared to other foundations like the Cara Weiss Liquid Velvet Foundation, that at the end of the day, my face is more oily with this than some other foundations. And if I have a foundation that's just accentuating my oiliness throughout the day, it's not one that I am inclined to reach for and use. And I do want to quickly show you here what the mixing drops look like. This is, like I said, this is the shade Light, so this is the light shade. It's a tiny little dropper. And the dropper is kind of messy, that's another thing. But you just need a little drop of this. A little bit goes a long way. Here's what it looks like on my hand. It's pretty liquidy, and then as you rub it out, you can see there what it looks like. Even with just rubbing it out, it's completely dried down on my hand, so it really does kind of dry the product down. Okay, so moving on to the concealer. I have the concealer in the shade 1. So I have the lightest shade of the concealer as well, and like I said, I have fair porcelain skin tone. And let me go ahead and swatch this. I mainly have used this under my eyes. To be really honest, I haven't had a lot of breakouts recently, which I'll take that. I've rubbed out the concealer right here. The concealer actually is a bit of a better shade for me than the foundation. The foundation definitely runs pink, whereas the concealer is a little bit more neutral in undertone, which is just a lot easier for me to work with my complexion. To get my ideal concealer shade, I mix it with the drops. I can get away with the concealer without the drops because it is more neutral in undertone. And I like the consistency of the concealer without the drops. However, once you mix the drops in, it does become a very dry product, and I find that it just doesn't lay the best on my under eyes when I mix the drops in. When I'm looking up close, it doesn't look the best. Could look better. And that's kind of my thoughts with the concealer. If I just use it on its own, it's okay, but also because it's not a perfect shade match for me, depending on the foundation I'm using, sometimes the concealer is a little bit too dark. It doesn't work the best for that reason, and then I do have to reach for the drops. But when it's just a concealer, I find that it does provide a good level of coverage. It does wear throughout the day pretty well, but once I start mixing the drops in, it just gets really, really dry, and that's a big part of the reason I actually used a brush to blend it out. I don't often use a concealer brush on my concealer, although I have started reaching for a brush again recently and really enjoying it. This, by the way, is the Clove and Hallow Precision Buffer Brush. I really like this. It is, if you do want to use a brush for concealer, this is a really good brush. Let me put it this way. I like the concealer better than the foundation. I am more likely to reach for the concealer because the shade is closer. And I do like the formula when I don't mix in the mixer with it, but I also really love other concealers, like the Aaron's Faces concealer is really good, the Saint Cosmetics concealer is really good. There are other ones that are also really good. Okay, and then the final product in this group of products is the setting powder. So this is a loose setting powder, and I have the shade Light in this one. When I'm testing out products, I try to test things like very thoroughly and in a lot of different conditions. So I've tried the foundation and the concealer with and without the mixing drops. I've tried it with a whole bunch of different setting powders, like my Clove and Hallow pressed powder foundation, my 14E setting powder. I also have been trying out a setting powder from Jason Wu. So I've tried like all sorts of combinations. I've tried this setting powder with other concealers because I really want to test everything thoroughly and really be able to tell you like what's working and what's not. So today, obviously, I used it to set the foundation and also the concealer. And this setting powder is fine. I do have the complaint sometimes with setting powders that I don't feel like they're actually setting products down. And I don't have that complaint with this setting powder. I do feel like it's actually setting things, and you know, the products underneath aren't still tacky, which I appreciate. I do have the shade Light in the setting powder, so it did come in different shades. I'm trying to pick a little bit up on my finger here. You can see it on my middle finger. And I do like the shade of it. It's nice. It doesn't like deepen the concealer under my eyes or anything like that, which I have that problem with some setting powders. They kind of tend to oxidize things, and I don't have that problem with this. So I like the setting powder. I actually don't have any complaints about that. I feel like it works really well. And I do appreciate that they have several different shades of the setting powder. I think more brands should come out with different shades of setting powders because, to be really frank, I have super fair skin, and a setting powder that works well for me is probably going to white cast someone with a deeper skin tone. So I appreciate that there were a couple shades to pick from with the setting powder, and I do like it. This is a product that I think I will keep reaching for because it's not fussy, it works well, it's reliable. So I do like it. Would I say it's better than like my 14E setting powder? Probably not. I also really like the Clove and Hallow pressed powder foundation for setting my face. Partly because that adds a little bit more coverage, and also when something, to be really honest, when something is in a pressed powder format, it's just easier to work with, and so I tend to gravitate towards products like that. But overall, I do like the setting powder, and I hope you found this video helpful. And if you're interested in trying out any of these products, be sure to let us know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. So if you'd like to see more clean beauty content, be sure to click the subscribe button and also click the bell button so you're notified of when I post new videos. And come follow me on Instagram. I'm at naturallybeautifulgirlkat there. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.